Hello, Potato. The week is finally over, and what a week it was. But it is over. It's now the weekend, and it's 4th of July weekend, so depending on where you are and what your job is, you may get a long weekend. So let's have us a little long weekend magic. Now, it was quite a week, so let's try to keep things a little low-key with this Loki Pin. It's on the same backing as that other one I got, and it's another kind of TVA themed one. Let's take a closer look at it. So here's a closer look at that Loki Pin. It's picture, of course, Loki himself on a TVA style poster pin. Always watching the sacred timeline for all times, always. That red's a little hard to read. And weirdly, like the other Loki pin, it's not a trader. This has not got a Mickey pin back on it. And I wonder why that is. Because the other Marvel pins I've picked up have had Mickey backs. I don't know what the deal with the Loki pins are, but it seems like it's fairly uniform amongst them. We'll find out. I do have order in for the D23 Miss Minutes pin, which, given that I ordered it about 3 weeks ago, means it's probably due in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll see what that one looks like in the back. But it's got the same card as the other Loki pin that I have before. And this one does actually have some pin-on-pin going on it. It's got the TVA logo as like a separate piece attached to the front of the pin. It is not like the Bad Batch one where it comes off. It is just kind of glued on there. Which I wouldn't mind just, some more TVA themed stuff. Even though, the farther we get into the show, the more we know the TVA, not the good guys. Spoilers, I guess. Yep, that's the Loki pin. I do quite like it. I don't know if I'm gonna buy any more Loki pins, but the show's not over. Let's see what else they bust out with over these next few weeks, the last 2 episodes. So the last couple weeks have seen a couple of key releases. We had most recently the Stitch key. This came out like in the UK at ShopDisney UK like months ago, but they released it on June 26th here because it was 6/26 and Stitch's Project 626. Get it? Funnily enough, this is not the Stitch key that is in that mystery box set that I have not managed to get all of and probably never will. This is a different Stitch key, so I don't know where the other Stitch key came from, if that's a key that maybe I already have and I've forgotten about, or what's up with that. But this wasn't the only key released in the last few weeks. No. We also had the 25th anniversary of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So we had a Hunchback of Notre Dame key as well. And while there was no pin released to this, undoubtedly it'll be in a future blind box series that I may or may not get. I still have not purchased any of those Marvel keys, and I won't until they go on clearance, which means I probably won't at all. But aside from the Hunchback key, there's also a Hunchback key pin. Fall over, see if I care. And let's take a closer look at all of these. Here are the Stitch keys. It's Stitch and Scrump. In case you didn't know that was Scrump, that is Scrump. I think it says it somewhere on here. I thought it's not on the package. It said Stitch and Scrump. Oh, it says it on the key. It's on the key. That's where it said it. Zip Stitch has got some nice tropical flowers on the D. Stitch, I guess, doing some sort of a yoga pose there in front of the sun on the main body of the key. And then over here, of course, in case you didn't know who Stitch was, it says Experiment and then 626 on the castle teeth. And then Scrump is like a little bit of a smaller key, like the Grogu key with the Mandalorian set back from Star Wars Day. And again, we have some just tropical. Now, I guess that's supposed to be like Scrump's hair and eyes, isn't it? Because it's like buttons. It's like the button eyes there. And then Scrump's hair kind of mixed around on the D. Scrump doing a very similar pose to Stitch. And then it says Scrump on the little castle. Very cute. A nice set to go with the ever-growing collection. We have a bin of these things now. And of course, Disney shows no signs of stopping. Then we have our Hunchback of Notre Dame. We've got kind of the pattern on the D is, I think it's supposed to be the glass on the clock face of Notre Dame Cathedral. It's Notre Dame, isn't it? It should be Hunchback of Notre Dame because it's French. Notre Dame is the college, Notre Dame is the cathedral. And then we have the Hunchback himself And in case you didn't realize it was, that's a Hunchback Notre Dame, Notre Dame on the shaft of the key, and some little fleur-de-lis on the castle. Interesting, we've got kind of a, I think this is the first key that has multiple colors on the little knobbly bits there. I don't know what significance there is to that, if any at all, but I think it's interesting. And this is, of course, for the 25th anniversary of Hunchback of Notre Dame, which, I mean, I feel like we're getting into a lot of anniversaries for Disney films that didn't actually do very well, all things considered, like by Disney standards at the time. But I think we're just hoping that, you know, since these are kind of targeting my age group now, Gen Xers that grew up with these films and older millennials who may not realize that these movies weren't actually all that great at the time. And of course, I say of course, but I shouldn't, because I've already said the Stitch key doesn't have one. But this key does come with a matching pin, which again is a pretty close duplicate to our key. Like, close enough to call it almost exact. Yep, I think the key was $14.99, right? They don't have tags on them, do they? Pin was $12.99. So I think, yeah, keys are $14.99. That's the price we're going with them now. And I'm pretty sure these are both still available. I'm pretty sure the Stitch key is as well, if you want that, up on the ShopDisney website. And then we have one more item this week, and that is something that I bought on, or ordered on June 26th, same time as I ordered our Stitch keys. And that is this Pop Rides number 102 Stitch in Rocket. Yep, looks very cute. I'm a little surprised this was still available last I looked. I was kind of thinking this might go one of those like the Treasure Pirate Pop, where it just was on there one time and then never again. But then I realized, of course, this doesn't say only at Disney or Disney parks or anything to indicate that it's not a wide release pop, so it's probably being sold everywhere, and I probably could have gotten it cheaper if I'd bought it from like Box Lunch or something. But I did get it, and it arrived in pretty good shape, and it meant that the Stitch key was shipped in a box and not a plastic bag, which is why the Stitch key showed up in pretty good shape as well. Let's pop him out of the box and take a closer look at him, shall we? Here he is, Stitch, Experiment 626 in Pop 102, out of the box, riding the little space adventure machine. And as tends to be the case with these big boxed ones, it comes with a little picture backdrop, not one necessarily appropriate to the actual scene of him riding the ship, because I'm pretty sure that was in front of a shop, not on the beach. But still, always a nice little addition all the same, because I think they know, especially with these big ones, people tend to keep them in the boxes. But I like the artwork done here. They've really done like some expressiveness. A lot of those older, earlier pops kind of really do suffer from the issue of they all kind of look the same. But now they've definitely been more willing to break the main design of what a pop should be to make them more expressive. And this is a good example of that. I mean, it's not Audrey 2 example, but it's a good example. It's not too heavy. It's pretty light. I'm guessing the inside of this is probably hollow, which is fine. Doesn't need to be solid. Not everything needs to be that massive Dumbo paperweight size. Got the little steering wheel in there, and just a little conked out Stitch. It's very cute. Not a lot of texture or anything on here, just kind of flat painted on, but still, overall, it's Funko LLC 2021. Yeah, yada yada. But cute. Would look cute on a shelf, but it's going to go back in the box and probably just get stacked with a bunch of other ones. And yeah, that's going to wrap us up for the week. Let's put everything back together here for the final shot while I talk about what got me through this week. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's nothing really instantly leaps to mind for me this week. I don't have that's not like an obvious choice like Loki or Bad Batch, because I've done those already. But what I'm going to go with actually is a computer game. And it's not one that people generally hate this time, which, usually I pick things like Cyberpunk and Fallout 76, which, everybody dislikes. No, today it's a game, it's on Steam. I don't think it's on anything else, because right now it's in early access, has been for actually quite some time, but they are actively updating it. And it's called Hard Space Shipbreaker. And it's a game in which it takes place in one of these, big spacefaring worlds of adventurous spacefaring do. And you play in it a guy who scraps ships. Yep, it's the entire game, at least so far for me, and I've only recently started playing it since they did a big patch which reset everybody's progress. It all takes place in basically a scrap bay. You tear apart ships, and some of it go into salvage barges, some of it go into a salvage bay, some of it just goes into a furnace to be melted down. And when you're done, you go back to your hab and you start all over again the next day. And I play it on one of the easier settings. I play it on a setting with no time limit. You can have it so, like, you can die in the game, of course, because you're taking apart ships that have nuclear reactors and radiation and fuel tanks, and that all of which will quite happily explode on you if you do something stupid or even just wrong. But I've been enjoying it. I play on one of the easier settings. I play on no time limit because I don't understand why you have a shift that's like realistically like a half an hour in real time. I don't know how it's supposed to be in game, but it's a half an hour of my time. And I don't see the point in that. I enjoy just taking my time, because it's kind of got like a puzzle element. You have to take ships apart certain ways to make sure you don't damage things, to make sure you don't blow yourself up and have to pay a massive amount of money for cloning. It's a fun little game, and I recommend you check it out if you want something to just, you can crank up the difficulty and make it a little faster paced and a little more exciting. I'm enjoying it. Just take an hour or 2 hours to just casually take apart a ship. And there's like the new version adds some like story elements that weren't there originally. So they're mostly told in between shifts as you meet new characters through email. I recommend it. I don't know how much it costs anymore. I bought it, I think it was on stuff like $15 on Steam. It goes on sale periodically. I suggest keeping an eye on it. It's a fun little game, and it's fun to take the ships apart and just, scrap them. But yep, that's what got me through this week, and that's going to wrap up both this week and this video. I hope you found it all interesting or entertaining. If you did, give it a like, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be, it'll be 4th of July, won't it? It'll be our 4th of July special, so hopefully I'll see you then.